Hello students, once again I welcome you all in my new video for class 9. In the previous video we have started our new chapter 2 tissues, where we have discussed that a group of cells which are having similar function, structure and origin, they are termed as tissues. And since you are having the knowledge from your previous class that plant and animal cells are having so much variation amongst them, so you can get an idea that tissues will be also different in plants and animals' body. So today we are going to discuss plant tissues, and later on we will see in the same chapter what are the animal tissues. So the name itself, the tissues which are present in plants, they are known as plant tissues. And in the previous video I told you that plant tissues can be classified in two groups. The first one is known as meristematic and the other one is known as permanent tissue. So first we will see what is meristematic tissue. Actually, meristematic is derived from a Greek word that is meristos. So this Greek word means to divide. It means the meristematic tissues are made up of some specific cells which are having the ability to divide themselves. So meristematic tissues, since they are going to divide, they are responsible for growth. How they are going to help in the growth of plants? As you know, growth may be in two ways, whether increase in number or whether increase in size. Means you are having a knowledge from your previous class that all multicellular organisms are derived from a single cell. Even we, the humans, are derived from a single cell that is known as zygote. So this zygote is going to keep on dividing, and further many cells are made in our body, and since that is known as what? Growth. Or growth may be in the same cell. If the size of cell is going to increase, that is also termed as what? Growth. So here when we consider about the growth in plants, this growth is brought by a specific tissue that is known as meristematic tissue, and their function is what? Only to divide themselves so that the new cells can be produced in the plant body. And this is what we have already discussed in the previous video, that even the growth is unlimited in plants, but that growth is localized. Means the growth of plant body is not evenly like the growth in animals, because that growth is specific in few regions only. So we will see here what are the characteristics feature of meristematic cell. So characteristics of meristematic cell, the first one is what? Since these cells are going to divide and divide all the time, so their size will be what? Small. They are of small size, and with size they are not having any and don't have any intercellular space, because they are packed compactly. They are compactly packed and they all are having small size, because they are not going to increase in size, but they are going to divide only. They are going to increase in number. Second one is what? Since they are going to divide, they contain large nucleus and dense cytoplasm. So what is the need of dense cytoplasm and large nucleus? Because their function is only to divide, so their cytoplasm will contain enormous, means large number of cell organelles which are responsible for the division of cell, so that each and every cell contain evenly all the cell organelles in their cell, and that is why the nucleus is also large. What is the next characteristic feature of these meristematic cells? You know, these cells do not contain vacuole. You are having a knowledge from your previous class, the differences between plant and animal cell, that the speciality of plant cell is what? They are having large central vacuole, but since these are going to divide only, so they lack vacuoles. Vacuoles are absolutely absent, or in few cases if they are present, they will be of very small size. Now, what is the next feature of these cells or meristematic tissue? That they contain thin cell wall, because they do not get time to increase in size, so their cell wall is what? Very thin, and they are going to divide themselves. And very important feature is what? They are what? Undifferentiated. These cells are what? Undifferentiated. Undifferentiated means when we talk about the plant tissues, there is a process that is known as cell differentiation. So what do we mean by this process? Cell differentiation. Actually, differentiation is a process in which cells are going to become specialized for any function. So they are not going to grow in size, so they are undifferentiated. They are only keep doing the division of cells, and since they are not differentiated, so cell differentiation means what? These permanent tissues are made up of meristematic tissues when the meristematic tissues are going to differentiate. But if the differentiation is not going to take place, the cell or the tissue will behave like the meristematic tissue. So this was all about the characteristic feature of meristematic cell. So let's recap once again what is there. Meristematic means this word is derived from a Greek word, that is what? Meristos, and it means to divide. So these cells, these tissues are responsible for growth, and they are having some specific characteristics, like they are having a small size and they do not have any intercellular space. They are very compactly packed because they are keep doing division again and again. For this division process, they need dense cytoplasm and large nucleus, and that's why they lack vacuole, because they don't need for the storage of substances. They also possess thin cell wall, and they are undifferentiated, means they are not specialized in any function. They are just going to keep divide themselves. Now we will see what are the three types of meristematic cells. So meristematic tissues are responsible for growth, and hence they are known as what? Growth tissues. So on the basis of the presence of meristematic tissue at the different part of the plant body, they are classified in three categories. The first one is what? Apical meristem. Second one is what? Intercalary. And the last one is what? Lateral meristem. So what do we mean by apical meristematic tissue? Actually, apical means what? apex means at top. So these tissues are present at the tip of the plants, whether it is at the shoot apex or the root apex. For example, suppose if we will make a structure of a small plant, so you know this is going to what? The top part of the plant. So here at the tip of the shoot, or it is going downside as the root. So at the tip of the root also this tissue will be present, and if we are going to make them enlarge this apical part, it may be like this. So at the apex of the shoot these cells will be present, and since these are what? Small cells and very compactly packed, they do not have any intercellular spaces and of small size, and their function is what? Just keep on dividing and ever dividing. So as they will divide, they will increase in the size and the plant will grow. But this growth is what? This is termed as what? Primary growth. Primary growth means what? Growth in length. So this tissue, apical meristematic tissue, is responsible. Apical, where at the top of shoot and root, and this is responsible for the primary growth of the plant. Primary growth means what? Growth in length. So it is going to increase the length of the plant either towards the upside or towards the downside, means whether in the apex part of the shoot, or if we are going to draw this lower part, the root apex, these cells are going to also increase the size of root, since they are having what? The nature of dividing ever and ever. So these are going to keep dividing, and hence the size of the root will also increase. So this is what? Apical meristem. One very interesting activity is given in your book, in which it is going to prove that if we are going to remove this apical meristem from the plant root or shoot body, then the growth will not occur in that part. So it is given, and for the activity 2 beakers are given. You have to fill water in these 2 beakers, and you have to take what? 2 onion bulbs. So these onion bulbs are having what? Root at the bottom side, which is soaked in the water, and this is what? The shoot side. And now in the beaker second also, the root part is what? Soaked in the water, and this is what? The upper part. Now what we have to do? We have to leave this plant, means the onion bulb, for 2 to 3 days, so that the growth can be happen. After 2-3 days we will see that the root is going to increase in size in both of the beakers. But what we have to do now, we are going to cut in the beaker B or beaker A. In any of the beaker you can cut the apex of the root and just leave it there for more 2-3 days. So after cutting the apex part of the root, when you will observe after 2-3 days, you will see further growth in the first beaker. the root will grow further in the first beaker but not in the second beaker, and this is the proof that if we are going to remove the apical meristematic tissues from the plant part, the growth will not happen in the length. So it means what? The apical parts of the plants, whether that is shoot or the root part, they are having what? Apical meristematic tissue, and that's why perhaps you have observed this, that the newly grown the shoot part or the root part is very soft because they are having what? Meristematic tissues. Now we will see what do we mean by intercalary tissues. So I hope this apical meristem is clear to you, that tissues which are present in the apex part of the plant, whether in the root or shoot part, they are known as what? Apical meristematic tissue. Now we are going to see what do we mean by intercalary. So intercalary meristematic tissues are not present in each and every part. They are present only in the monocot, especially in the grass family like bamboo, or when we talk about the rice or grasses or sugarcane. So perhaps you have seen there, if we are going to make the figure a rough diagram like this, means what? These are what? Nodes, and nodes are the region from where the leaves are going to arise. So here a leaf can be grow, and that's why this region is known as what? Node region, from where the leaves are going to arise. In between the node region, this is known as what? Internode. So some of the meristematic tissues are present at the base of the nodes, here at the base of the nodes, which are going to increase in size. Suppose if we are taking this area, this region, and we are going to draw again the figure. So this will be like this. Now you can see this area is much grown up than this part. Why this is happening? Just because of the meristematic cell that is present at the base of the nodes, and these meristematic tissues are known as intercalary meristematic tissues. So what are intercalary meristematic tissues? These tissues are present in the monocot plants, and these tissues are present where? At the base of the nodes, so that the internode region can grow properly, and these are also responsible for the growth of the leaves and buds. Perhaps you have seen that when the animals are going to graze the grass, since grasses are what? From the monocot family. So when the animals are going to eat the upper part from the base of the nodes, again the grasses are going to grow so that they can survive. So this is what? Intercalary meristematic tissues, which are present at the base of internode. So now we have completed two types of meristematic tissue, the apical and intercalary. And apical, where we come to know that apical are responsible for primary growth. It means what? Growth in the length. And you are also observing here that intercalary meristematic tissue is also responsible for the growth in size, means growth increase in the length. So is it possible for the plants to increase in size without having a support in the girth? Absolutely not. So plants are also having some tissues at the lateral sides of the plant. Suppose if it is an stem of the plant, so these meristematic tissues will be present where? at the lateral side, both of the sides of the plant, and these are responsible for increasing the girth of the plant. So lateral meristem is present only in dicot plants, and these are responsible for what? Secondary growth. So what do we mean by secondary growth? The growth in the girth or we call it in the width is known as what? Secondary growth, and growth in the length is termed as what? Primary growth. How the lateral meristematic tissues are going to help in the growth of dicot plants or vascular tissues plant. Suppose if it is a plant with a thin stem, so these lateral meristematic tissues are going to divide and divide further, and since they are going to divide, it means they are going to increase in the size. Finally, this stem will become wider, and when this stem will become wider, it will look like this, and a ring will be formed here. Now again, the meristematic cells which are present here, they will again divide, and finally they will increase the girth of the stem like this. So finally they are responsible for the girth of the plant, and perhaps you have seen a number of rings are present here in the stem, which is representing the annual growth due to the lateral meristematic tissues which were present laterally in the dicot or in the vascular plants. So this is all about the meristematic tissues. Meristematic tissues may be of three types: apical, intercalary and lateral. Apical meristematic tissue is present at the apex of the plant, whether in the root apex or shoot apex, and you are having an idea about their characteristic features, that the cells are what? Very small in size and having dense cytoplasm and compactly packed. So this apical meristematic tissue is responsible for the primary growth in length, whether in root or in shoot. Intercalary meristem is present where in monocot plants, or even means when we talk about the grass family plants, about rice or bamboo or like this, and these are present where? At the base of the nodes, and which is responsible for the growth of internodes, because when these cells will divide, the growth will take place in the length. And finally, the lateral meristematic tissue, which is responsible for the secondary growth. What do we mean by secondary growth? Secondary growth is the growth in the girth or width of the plant, which is going to give support, mechanical support for the growth of plant. And this is present only, means this lateral meristem is present only in dicot or vascular plant. So this is how they are going to increase in the girth of the plant. So this was all about the meristematic tissue. In the next video, we will discuss about the permanent tissue, but till then you have to make a note, you have to prepare the note about the meristematic tissue and plant tissue that we have discussed earlier in the chapter, and I will provide you few questions based on the today's discussion, and I hope you all will be able to solve them. So we will see the permanent tissue in plants in the next video. Till then, take care of yourself, be safe and keep studying.